We'll start off by removing the keycaps. It's a very easy thing to do. For this, you're gonna need a keycap puller and you just work your way through the keyboard. Next, it's time for the switches, and this is where you'll be needing a switch puller like this one. You just grab onto the top and bottom portions of the switch like so, and then give it a slight wiggle before pulling it out just like that. Again, just squeeze, wiggle, and pull. Work your way like before through the rest of the keyboard, and before you know it, you'll be left with the bare bones of our K630. Okay, it's time to take apart the rest of the keyboard. So get ready with your Phillips head screwdriver and remove these 8 screws on the top metal plate. You need to undo all these screws one by one, and once you're done, you should be able to take out the metal plate along with your PCB. Then, to separate the top metal plate, just squeeze these lock pins using your switch puller and the plate should come out eventually. Now we will be modding the stabilizers of our K630, so it's probably a great time to take these out as well. Just use a reasonably pointed tool like a screwdriver and push these pins at the bottom of each housing while applying forward and upward forces simultaneously. And the stabilizers should come out just like that. Repeat the steps for all of the remaining steps. To separate the individual parts of each of our stabilizers, just grab an end like so and turn it 90 degrees. You'll hear an audible click and the housing should come out just like that. Now take a piece of cloth and wipe off any lubrication that might have been added from the factory. The stems should be easy enough to clean, and for the housings, you can wrap the cloth in your screwdriver like so and clean them much easily. Alright, so now we are going to do something that is going to be a tad bit scary, but definitely a lot of fun. You see these ends right here in the housing pin, these uneven ones? We're going to get rid of these. And for this task, you need a pair of scissors to trim the uneven ends like so. Be very careful with which ends you're snipping off, and if you do it properly, you should be left with a housing pin that is completely flat. Repeat this step for all of the housing pins. Alright, time to lube our stabilizers. And for this, you'll be needing a thin paintbrush like this one and some silicone grease. Take a thin layer of lube with the brush and start applying it on the insides of the housing. Proceed the same way with the housing stems. Remember, it should only be a thin coating on each and every side. And once you're done with the lubing, you can start to reassemble the stabilizer housings by pushing the housing stem inside the housing like this. Next up are these metal stems. Now here I like to apply a considerably thicker coating, especially on the joints right here, but be my guest to experiment with whatever suits your style. And once you're done with lubing one of the ends, you can take one of the pre-lubed housings and start reattaching it to the stem. Just go ahead and insert the metal stem into the housing like so and turn it very slightly till you hear an audible click. And that basically indicates our housing is perfectly attached to the stem. Alright, let's move on with lubricating the other end of the stem like so, followed by reattaching the housing. And there you have it, one lubed stabilizer. I promise that this will definitely remove that wacky stabilizer rattle that was previously there on the K630. So now you have to repeat these steps for all the remaining stabilizers, and once you're done with them, you can start putting them back onto the metal plate. Oh wait, this is where I made one more modification. Let me show that to you as well. So if you see right here, after I put back the stabilizers, I found them to be quite loosely attached. This might disrupt the talky sound of the keyboard that we are going for. So I went ahead and added some masking tape on each of the sides like so. And when I added back the stabilizer, as you can see, it did fix the wobble issue that we had before. And here's how the metal plate looks like after I've added back the stabilizers. Also, remember to punch holes using a screwdriver if you find the masking tape covering any of the screw holes. Okay, so the next step is going to take a very long time because this is where we'll be modding each of these stock Otonu switches. Now don't worry, we'll not be using any kind of those fancy switch openers or something. We'll just be using our trustworthy paintbrush and some lube. And we are gonna start off by first applying a thin coating of the lube to each side of the exposed switch stem like so. And then do your best to put some lube inside the housings. So like I mentioned, it's going to be a rather tedious process and it'll definitely test out your patience because you need to apply lubrication individually to all the 61 switches. But hey, we are not spending any money on buying new switches, so I think this will definitely pay off in the end, trust me. Alright, next up is modding our PCB. Make sure that the backside is facing you, and this is where you'll be needing some masking tape and a pair of scissors because we'll be adding at least 2 layers of masking tape just like so. Now once you're done, the PCB should look something like this. And here's where I should remind you to leave out the USB-C port and the caps lock LED right here because we definitely don't want to mask these off. Alright, so here comes the best part of our modding journey, the case of the K630. We're going to add some foam here, so I highly recommend you to add the PE foam that was used to wrap the K630 inside of the box. This is by far the best way to add some sound absorption materials inside the hollow case. And by the way, don't forget to make cutouts for the USB-C port and the caps lock LED like before. And I didn't quite stop there, I went ahead and added some more foam inside. And please don't laugh at me, but this foam that you're seeing is actually something I salvaged out of a box of shirt that I purchased recently. You can be my guest and add any other foam that you like, because the more foam you put inside, the better your keyboard will sound. So it's all good stuff in the end. Alright, so it's time to put back everything inside. So we'll start off by reattaching the top metal plate to our PCB, then start screwing back one by one all the 8 screws that we took out earlier. And our K630 already feels so much nicer and denser than before. Awesome. And now it's time to put back all of our hand loop switches. Trust me, the effort that we have put in is finally going to pay off, so bear with me. Now before I forget, this is also the point where I've added some leftover foam to these empty spaces underneath the spacebar. It's gonna make a huge difference to the sound of the spacebar. Alright, so the only thing that is left now is to put back our keycaps. So let's quickly put them back in. And this is our newly modded Red Dragon K630. It doesn't look quite different from the outside, but I'm sure you'll be blown away by how this one sounds right now. Take a listen. You see how much better the K630 is sounding right now? To be honest, I think it can surpass keyboards that are twice as expensive. If you calculate how much you have spent on the mods, it'll amount to somewhere in the ballpark of 500 to 600 Indian rupees. That's less than 10 US dollars. But hey, that's not cheap, right? Well, not exactly, because if you really want to calculate how much you have actually spent on the K630 right here, it's kind of ridiculous. Because the amount of mods that you have used is close to negligible, and the mods like the masking tape and the silicone gel that we purchased will last you a lot more time, much more than the K630 that we have right here. So those are kind of like lifetime investments, if you will. So you've actually spent close to nothing in modding the K630 that we have right here, and that is indeed a fact to say. But let's say you have some cash to spare. In that case, I highly recommend getting some double shot PVT pudding keycaps for the K630. You can either go with HyperX pudding keycaps from Amazon or get in touch with Mr. Sahil Torankar on Facebook, because he's the one who actually hooked me up with these pudding keycaps that you're seeing on your screens right now. And this is how our modded K630 sounds like with the pudding keycaps. Alright, so I think I kind of established the fact here that budget keyboards like the K630 can be easily modded for next to nothing, and these will make your keyboard sound much better. And here's the crazy part, I'll be actually giving away this keyboard to one of you guys. All you need to do is stay subscribed to my YouTube channel and follow me over at X. And probably tag me in a post claiming why you want to win this modded K630. I'll be picking a random winner by the end of this month, so best of luck to you guys. So that is pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Definitely subscribe if you want to see more of these videos in the future. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next one.